This is TWiT.
Earl Rod tweeted, regarding unintended consequences and websites requiring an account to view their content. I first encountered this a few weeks ago and wondered why. It clearly was not a paywall. Now I understand why. Referring to last week's podcast. He said, in fact, no password is needed since it's not an account, but merely a way to track me. They did verify that my email was a real one, so the friction for a user is minimal. Really nothing to remember except my junk email, which I have for such purposes. He said, P.S. The site was foxnews.com. He says, one of the several entertainment sites I look at to see the going narratives related to the news. Okay, so first of all, it's very interesting that no password is needed. And Earl is correct. The only thing they really want and need is our email address. That's what they're trying to get. I went over to Fox News and poked around a bit, and I was not initially prompted for anything. I noticed in the URL bar that Firefox was saying that I had given the Fox site some special permissions of some sort. It turned out that I had disabled autoplay and audio was blocked on that site. So I cleared any cookies that Firefox might have been carrying, and then, sure enough, I got the same thing Earl reported. I grabbed a picture of it by myself for the show notes, and it's a box that says join Fox News for access to this content. It says plus get unlimited access to thousands of articles, videos, and more with your free account. Then there's a form to fill in, just a one-liner, enter your email, and then a continue button. And then in the fine print below, it says, by entering your email, you're agreeing to Fox News terms of service and privacy policy, which includes our notice of financial incentive. What? That's bold. To access the content, check your email and follow the instructions provided. Okay, so they do that page fade effect where you can see the top of the story, right, but it fades to white, and so that it becomes unreadable while this box appears. So I was curious about the notice. So in other words, you can't really continue reading the story until you've entered your email, click the button, gone to your email, click the link there to confirm your email address. All of that gives your browser a cookie, which is now tied to your email address. So every time you come back in the future, they know who you are. So I was curious about this notice of financial incentive they referred to.
Yeah, what could
so I followed the link, which brought me to the following disclosure. Under notice of financial incentive, it says, this notice applies to our offers or programs, each an incentive program that link to this section of our privacy policy. Okay, and of course the page blocking that email that brought me here linked to this. So it applies to what we just did, right? And which California may consider to be a financial incentive. You can opt in to participate in an incentive program by providing your email address or other personal information. In exchange for providing your personal information and depending on the incentive program in which you participate, you may be able to access certain content features or events, receive a discounted price on an applicable subscription, or receive special news alerts or other entitlements. We will, in turn, use your personal information for the purposes set forth in this privacy policy, such as sending you alerts and marketing messages and personalizing your experience, including providing advertising you may find more relevant and interesting. To the extent we can estimate the value of your personal information to us, we consider the value of the offer, such as special content or features, the cost to us associated with providing the offer. In other words, right, it's a net zero, it's a net equal, and the potential benefit to us in the form of additional advertising or other revenue we may receive as a result of you using our services. The value to us, if any, will depend on the extent to which you engage with our services, which, boy, some attorneys made a bunch of money putting those couple paragraphs together. Basically, what this amounts to is you've given us your email address, which we're going to use to enrich ourselves. And the more time you spend here, the richer we get.
Yes.
So it's all the sites that are doing this are say the same thing. It's very clear that this is exactly what Earl, who first encountered this, suggested it was. I don't visit the Fox News site often enough to have appreciated this as a change of behavior recently, but apparently Earl does, and it changed for him.
Yeah,
this is new.
The CCPA, I bet, is the California Privacy Act is the financial one.
Right.
But yeah, it makes sense. You know what? We don't need a password. You don't need no stinking password.
Nope.
Just give us your email.
So,
That's all we ask. I see that a lot, by the way.
Yep.
Yeah.
As he put it, I first encountered this a few weeks ago and wondered why. It's not obnoxious, and the lack of any request for a password makes it much less obnoxious.
Right.
So it looks like we have a perfect example of last week's topic, the unintended consequences of trying to take tracking away from an industry that does not want to let it go.
Exactly.
Everyone who fills out these Join Our Site online forms, aside from subjecting themselves to an ever-increasing torrent of spam, will be receiving a completely legal and legitimate first-party browser cookie to uniquely identify them to the site and tie it to their email address. So long as their browser returns that cookie during that and subsequent visits, they will be seen as a member of the site, so they won't be bothered again. This is a one-time deal. However, yes, the site, with members come advantages, right? The site will in turn forward the visitor's email address to all partners, including all advertisers on that site, who will effectively be paying the site for that information. Before I had switched away from the site, by the way, uBlock Origin's blocked access attempt count was up to 98 different domains.
Oh my God. That has to be a record. Holy cow.
98.
Oh, and boy. You're going to start getting some pillow ads real soon in your email, I think.
Yep. There's more evidence of this. As I was researching the title story for today, the trusted platform module BitLocker decryption story, I scrolled down on the PCGamer.com site, and I encountered exactly the same thing. PC Gamer newsletter. Sign up to get the best content of the week and great gaming deals as picked by the editors. And there it is. And then there's two checkboxes that were not default checked, which I at least appreciated. That was contact me with news and offers from other future brands, and receive email from us on behalf of our trusted partners or sponsors. Yikes. And then, same fine print. By submitting your information, you agree to the terms and conditions and privacy policy and are aged 16 or over. So, one thing I didn't mention last week during our discussion of this is that if anyone doesn't yet have a throwaway junk email account, now would certainly be a good time to establish one. No site to whom we provide this email address will be respecting our privacy. That's the entire point of obtaining our email address. It's so that our privacy can be more explicitly ignored than ever before. And note that we are also implicitly agreeing now to every such site's privacy policy, which should be renamed their lack of privacy policy.
Yeah, and even if you use a burner email, they don't care. It's a fingerprint. So
exactly.
You don't have to, even the burner email
ties
really,
back. It all ties back to you.
It's marginally better, I guess. Now I have to ask you one thing. In this screenshots, I see a LastPass icon. Are you still using LastPass? I thought you stopped using LastPass.
That's a good point. On this computer, I think I must not have
forgot to uninstall it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Just mentioning.
Very
that's your screenshot computer. Probably not your main machine. Okay.
Right. It's off the net.
Yeah. Hey, it's Leo Laporte. I hope you've enjoyed this little snippet from Security Now. If you want the whole show, you can get it at our website, twit.tv/SN. Of course, you can subscribe to Security Now on your favorite podcast, or just click one of the links below.